Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to JWF Monday Night Ignition. I'm your host, Silver Spoon, joined as always by a man who's got one hell of an announcement to start the show. It's Captain Tibbs.
Thank you, Sills. And I hope you're ready for a big-ass announcement coming down the pipe right now.
That's right. I mean, we gotta remember, the JWF, it has been in turmoil over the past few weeks thanks to one singular man, the man known as Scotty Moore, the head of our developmental territory, JXT. He came down, he said that he wanted a war between JWF and JXT. He said that JWF doesn't make stars like JXT can, and that they could possibly overtake us, and that's absolutely ludicrous, I'm just saying.
Wrong. Completely wrong. Stupid. Dumb.
I mean, Tibbs, I don't want to play devil's advocate, but JXT does have actual visible wrestling, and you took care of our cameras because you said they cost too much. That's why this is an audio-only show.
And think about how much money we're saving, Sills. Think about it.
Okay, Tibbs, well... who knows? I mean, like I said, Scotty Moore, he wants this war happening. And then, of course, the big shock last week, Robert Hill, one of the biggest names in the JWF, defecting and joining Scotty Moore. I mean, I don't know what's going through that big man's head.
I don't know, Sills, but it seems like somebody's going to need to knock it back into place.
That is right. But for right now, Tibbs, why don't you go down to the ring and make this historic announcement regarding our next pay-per-view, Crossing the Line.
All right, here we go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, over the past few weeks, Scotty Moore has made it infinitely clear that he wants to start a war between JXT and the JWF. Which show is better? Which show makes the real stars? Which show is where it's at every week? And I've already shown him exactly what kind of a war Captain Tibbs is ready to put on to embarrass Scotty Moore, but I want to do more than that. I want to embarrass his champions. Which is why, at Crossing the Line, it's going to be champions versus champions. Our tag team champions, the Rising Suns, will take on Back in Black, the JXT champs. Our captain's champion, Blake Tanner, will face off against the unstoppable Falcor the Dragon. And the biggest one of them all, our champion, Guy Fieri, will stand toe-to-toe with the only man to ever hold both titles in JXT at the same time, Chuck Gibbons. In addition, we will have a 4-on-4 match, Team JXT versus Team JWF. And at the end of the night, we will see.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, there it is, the music of Scotty Moore, the leader, the proverbial leader of Team JXT, coming down to the ring. And Scotty Moore's smiling. He looks like he's excited to come out here. Oh, okay. So we're doing this now, huh? We're just going to book the whole show. That's what this segment was. Okay, well, given that this show is technically co-branded, seems only fair to me that old Scotty Moore gets a say as well, huh? So how about this? For the first time ever in JWF history, we will have one of the most devastating matches ever concocted in JXT, an 8-man Bonanza match. 4 JWF superstars and 4 JXT superstars step inside this ring, and there will be no pinfall, no submission. The only way to win is by knocking out the 7 other men. And the winner, they get a shot at your JWF championship.
Well, that's ridiculous. Why would I do that?
And secondly, don't you dare interrupt me again, old man, or I'll kick your teeth down your throat. Secondly, I want to continue to make JWF history by having the first ever women's match in the JWF. I want to see my wife and the current JXT Women's Champion, Emily Ireland, go toe-to-toe with the devastatingly vicious Phoenix Driver in a one-on-one, no DQ match, and the winner walks out with the JXT Women's Championship.
First of all, you little shit, you don't tell me who I can and can't interrupt, but that's a great idea, so fuck it, fine.
And thirdly, Tibbs, I want a match. I mean, my boys, you said all my champions, they've got stuff to do, but I don't want to go to the dance without a partner. But you see, I don't want any normal match. No, I want it to be a match that you're all too familiar with, Tibbs, Nautical Rules. One of the most devastating matches to ever come out of your little head. Chairs, kendo sticks, barbed wire bats, all in play. And you know something? I wouldn't be much of a leader if I wasn't willing to shed my own blood. And you see, I want to do that in this match. And I want this match against you.
I'm sorry, what did you just say to me, you little piece of shit?
And if I win, Tibbs, when I win, let me correct myself, I get control over the entire JWF for the rest of the year.
That is absolutely goddamn ridiculous. It's ludicrous. I would never accept that. No one in this company's history has ever had the book except for Captain Tibbs, and I don't intend
Exactly, Tibbs, exactly. No one has ever held control of this company except for you. You've been the man. You've been the one with all the control, and you've run this company into the ground. So why don't you give the savior of JWF a shot at it?
Oh, no. Absolutely not. I have put up with your childish games and your petty declarations of war. You can have your women's title match, your 8-man Cananza, or whatever. But I refuse to fight you. I am not about to risk my company over your petty bullshit.
Oh, Tibbs. This isn't pettiness, bud. This is about saving the company you destroyed. This is about a war. And you just made one extremely critical error. Well, ominous words there from Scotty Moore to finish that off, but it looks like we've got the card set. Champions versus champions, 4-on-4, Team JXT versus Team JWF. And for the first time ever in JWF history, we're going to have a women's match on the card. Not just a women's match, a women's championship match, as the current JXT champion, Emily Ireland, takes on the absolute beast known as Phoenix Driver. Welcome back to the desk, Tibbs. How are you feeling? You seemed a little flustered.
Sills, let me tell you something. I don't know about that guy, that upstart just really gets my goat. I hate how much of my young self I see in him. And listen, another thing, I don't make errors. He's just trying to get in my head. It's utterly ridiculous.
Well, I mean, honestly, if I was a leader in a war, I think the wisest move would be to go after, I hate to say it, the old general, the one who you know can't exactly go in the ring anymore. I mean, we know you haven't wrestled since last year's Los Trios Tangos, and even now, doctors are afraid to even clear you to get back in the ring.
I have 3 artificial vertebrae at this point. It's not good, Sills.
That is right, but one of those men that are going to be on Team JXT, you got to think one of those names is going to be Robert Hill. We spoke earlier. Robert Hill defected from the JWF, and let me tell you something. It was a horrifying sight to see. I mean, if you considered us to have an ace up our sleeve, it would have been Robert Hill, and then Scotty Moore stole the damn ace out of our sleeve, put it on the table in front of him.
Yeah, let me tell you something, Sills. If you're the type of person that only relies on that ace in the hole, then you're not playing with a full deck.
That is right, Tibbs, but Robert Hill is actually backstage with one of our top interviewers to explain the reasons why he would align himself with Scotty Moore. Let's have a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, Don the Don McDonald backstage here with the man who shocked the world last night by aligning himself with Scotty Moore and the JXT, Robert Hill. Now, Robert, everybody wants to know why. Why would you turn your back on the JWF universe like this?
Have you not been paying attention, McDonald? Have you not been paying attention to the way Robert Hill's been treated down here? I have been undefeated ever since stepping foot into this company, and yet where have I been on the card? They forget me on one pay-per-view, then they put me in the second match of the next pay-per-view, when I should be where I've always belonged, in the main event. Scotty Moore knew I was main event player material back in JXT, and when I won that battle royal at Summerfest, he came to me and told me something. He told me they were gonna try and hold me back, but I couldn't let them. Even if it took bum rush into the ring and beating the living hell out of everyone in my sight, I couldn't let the JWF hold me back. Because that's what they do here. Hold back superior talent like Robert Hill. And believe me, I ain't the only one on the roster that knows about this Tibbs. There's plenty of guys back there that wish we could go back home. Go back to JXT, the place that cared about us. In fact, don't be surprised if you see a lot more of those guys turning over to the side of Scotty Moore. Keep your eyes peeled, you old bastard.
God, his voice sucks, Tibbs. I mean, I know he's a great wrestler, but that hurt to listen to. That just shows how violent of a man he is. Just listening to him talk causes your ears to bleed.
You know, Sills, I never really got the appeal. I mean, it just sounds like he never got past puberty, but he still really has the deep voice.
That is right, Tibbs, but as he just said, possibly we could have more amongst our ranks that could turn. And I gotta say, who do you think it could be? I mean, we know we got one half of our tag champions, FOMO-san, who of course was great back in JXT. We've got tons of guys. I don't know who he could be alluding to, though.
I don't know, Sil. It's not like it could be anybody. It's not like half of our roster has come from JXT. That's just preposterous. That's terrifying to think of. That's a... Oh, dear.
I have to assume you're looking in the ring right here for our next match, Tibbs. Teams that were JXT born and bred, the Blockbusters and the Wild-Eyed Southern Boys, the team of Sam Adams and a former JXT champion in his own right, Houston Longhorn.
Now listen, Sills, the past few months, both of these teams might have not had the best run of it in the tag team division, but look, they can always turn it around. These two are going to go at it. We're going to see who's the best of the best of the JXT tag teams here. The valuable positioning on the board.
That's right, and they could possibly get a little bit of an advantage right now facing off against one another, and it looks like Sam Adams stepping up against the Bone Crusher to start things off. And Tibbs, before it gets going, let me ask you this. These are two wildly different teams. I mean, you got them good old country boys and the Wild-Eyed Southern Boys, but then you also have this dominant, almost demonic force in the Blockbusters. But in their differences, I've seen a similarity. Both of these teams really enjoy violence. We know the Wild-Eyed Southern Boys love to cause a bar brawl every now and again, and then the Blockbusters, it seems like they just thrive on it.
This is going to be an interesting matchup, Sills. But while both of these teams are considered brawlers, I would say, brawlers in very different ways. The Blockbusters, of course, they have the trump of the Bone Crusher, who in his own right is a crazy son of a bitch that can get inside your head just as much as he can break your fingers.
That's right, and you hear that bell go ding, and oh, wait a minute, it looks like Sam Adams trying for a quick attempt at the sobriety test, his finishing move, but instead, Bone Crusher just grabs him, and throws him across the ring before just taking him into the corner and pummeling in the face. Bone Crusher is snapped, and look at this, our referee forced to call for a separation that quickly.
Of course, Sills, you see, I just said it. Look at what the Bone Crusher can bring. He is a maniacal force. He will take everything. He will take you down to your skin and bones to try and win the match.
That's right. That's the thing about the Blockbusters. Like I said, the wild-eyed Southern boys, they love violence, but the Blockbusters live off of violence. But it looks like Sam Adams with a quick blind tag to Houston. And Tibbs, I don't think Bone Crusher noticed. He's just still trying to go after Sam and gets leveled with a massive clothesline from Houston. And then a second, Houston Longhorn looking mighty strong, trying to lock him up for that big pile driver. But getting out of it at the last second is the Bone Crusher. And it looks like Bone Crusher searching for a big tag from his partner, the Titan. But Houston wisely cutting off the ring. This is what the wild-eyed Southern boys, this is what brought them to the dance. Keeping that ring cut apart, preventing any tags from happening.
That is right. While the Blockbusters are, what some would say is an unstoppable force, the wild-eyed Southern boys are not so much immovable objects as they'll move around the unstoppable force and get you from behind. They are wily.
That's right. You see Houston tagging in Sam, who's entering the ring, just trying to pick up the scraps. And you can see on the outside of the ring, their manager, Spider Lockhart, just screaming in advice. And Tibbs, it might be the end for the Bone Crusher right now because he is about to eat a big sobriety test from Sam Adams. But no, Bone Crusher once again shoves him away, but unfortunately shoves him directly into our referee, and Shibata is down. Shibata's going down, and look at this, Titan taking the opportunity while the ref's down to come in, hit some cheap shots. Houston joins them, and now we just got a brawl in the ring.
I don't know, Sills. This might benefit the Southern boys if they can use their brawl style, but they might not be prepared for the absolute pummeling that the Blockbusters can bring.
I mean, Tibbs, why don't we have another damn referee out here? This is pandemonium in here. Tibbs, looks like that pandemonium is gonna continue. You hear that? That's the music of Scotty Moore, and it looks like the higher power of JXT is out, and it looks like he's going recruiting. And look at this, Spider Lockhart of the Southern Boys, and then, of course, Lawrence Whitney of the Blockbusters look like they're both stating their own cases.
Well, that's just disconcerting, Sills. I thought that I thought that I had been better to them, but I see where their loyalties lie.
That's right, and it looks like Scotty Moore just going in the ring, and oh my God, Scotty Moore, he's brought in a kendo stick. Scotty Moore has a kendo stick, and he has just dropped it in the middle of the ring between these two teams. What the hell is Scotty thinking?
My God, Sills, is he gonna have them fight it out right here in the ring? Does he care so little about who he gets on his team? He just cares about the one that can inflict more damage? Well, I understand while that's actually a great move, I'm wholeheartedly against it ethically. Great business move, though.
That's right, and you can see just both teams scrambling for that kendo stick, beating each other off, but oh, wait a minute, Tibbs. Look at who has come out on top. Look who is wielding that kendo stick. It is the Titan, that hulking beast, a man who, let's remember, everyone else has had a little bit of punishment dealt to them. Titan is fresh, and he has beaten the hell out of everybody in the ring. Titan is taking on all comers, and it looks like he just knocked Houston Longhorn's head off into the audience with that thing.
Oh, looking at him, the Titan is intimidating enough without a weapon in his hand, but with that kendo stick, he looks like he could just snap it over any one of those other men's faces.
That's right, you see him picking up Sam Adams, getting ready for the clash of the Titan, and immediately goes over to wake up Shibata as the Bone Crusher gets up on the top rope and hits the crush bone directly into that rib cage, that violent elbow drop, and he goes for the pinfall. Looks like Shibata finally crawling over. 1, 2, 3. And Tibbs, just like that, it looks like the Blockbusters have come out victorious. But look at this. Look who is waiting for them at the top of the ramp. It is Scotty Moore waiting for them with welcoming arms. And Tibbs, I'll be honest, to me, that didn't seem like a victory for the Blockbusters. That seemed like a victory for Team JXT.
I don't like how excited you sound about this, Sills. You've been talking to him. You haven't been talking to Scotty Moore behind my back, have you, Sills? Have you?
Tibbs, let's think about this. The Bone Crushers, I think, fairly sure that's the first match they've won all year. So, in a way, I'd rather have them be on the team we want to beat.
You son of a bitch. That's why I love you, Sills.
That is right. But another man who's going to be fighting on our side is the JWF champion, the king of Flavortown, Guy Fieri, who's going to be facing off against Chuck Gibbons. And Tibbs, tell me about this Chuck guy. I've heard a lot about him, heard about the suplexing technique of this man, but for the people who don't know, tell us about the JXT champion.
You might be surprised to know, Sills, that Chuck Gibbons, of course, we've known him for a while now. We kind of go back a long time with him. He was an old school guy back when we were kind of finishing up, kind of when we were getting near retirement age, but that was still in a time where the old kind of lockup with a strong man with a strong mustache would be intimidating and feared in the ring. And that's what Chuck Gibbons was. He didn't have much of a career past that until he finally came back into the JXT to seek another shot at greatness. And I'll be honest, Sills, he's done wonderful down there. He is an amazing champion. First dual champion in JXT history. He beat two men that you all might well know from the scene of other companies, as some would say, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, in the same night to be a dual champion in JXT. This is not somebody that you should take lightly, Chuck Gibbons.
That's right. Let's not forget, he was also the first ever Mr. Worldwide, held that briefcase, used it to cash in, beat Kenny Omega for the title, and then not only that, in that short month, he became a two-time champion, losing the title to Hangman Page, but immediately beating him back for it just a few short days later. Chuck Gibbons is a beast, and if there's any match you announced earlier tonight that I'm going to be worried about, it's going to see Guy Fieri versus Chuck Gibbons. But is the king of Flavortown worried? Why don't we go backstage to one of our top interviewers to hear what Guy has to say.
Hello everybody, Honeypot McJohn Oliver's nephew here, with the JWF champion himself, the king of Flavortown, Guy Fieri. Now Guy, as Captain Tibbs announced earlier tonight, you will be going on to face the JXT champion, Chuck Gibbons, in just a few short weeks. How do you feel facing off against the old school champion at Crossing of the Line?
Okay, look, Honeypot, I'm not one to dismiss the future of professional wrestling, but that's exactly who Gibbons is. And that's when his time will come. The future. You see, right now, Guy Fieri's worrying about the present. And in the present, the best damn professional wrestler in this company is Guy Fieri. You see, unlike Gibbons, unlike Ghazi, unlike all of these JXT pukes, I never had to go to JXT. I never had to wallow in the independents. I never had to prove myself. You see, Guy Fieri, he never had to go to developmental because there was nothing that you needed to develop in Guy Fieri. I came to JWF as the total package, strength, star power, abilities that JXT is hoping to develop in these guys. Now look, I'm not going to put anything past him. I've watched Gibbons. I've seen him get in that ring, suplex men down onto their necks and absolutely decimate them. But much like the rest of JXT, he's still missing that one thing. He's still missing that star power that Guy Fieri possesses. You see, Scotty Moore's little island of misfit toys are exactly that. Misfits. And at Crossing the Line, I'm gonna rip the leg off of that misfit toy, beat him with it, and send him back to JXT. Because you know something? Gibbons and I, we're a lot alike. We're both grade A American-made steak. The only difference is Guy Fieri's well done, and Gibbons ain't even touched the fire yet. Well, Tibbs, this is a lot of fire coming out of the champion going into this match. And let me tell you something, Guy Fieri, he's known to be a little bit egotistical, but right now I feel like he could do it. I think the man could take down Gibbons.
Well, Sills, that ego is not undeserved, of course. Guy Fieri is right. He came straight here to the JWF. He was one of my top picks when I had the idea for the Celebrity Championship way back when. He was a guy that I knew could go far in this business, and he has done so much more since we got rid of that Celebrity Championship than I think he ever could if we still had it.
That's right. I mean, going on to become a two-time King of the Steel City champion. Going on to become the JWF champion. Multiple-time tag team champion. Guy Fieri has had it. I mean, the man has got power. He just happens to know it.
Absolutely, Sills. And you know what? I'm fine with him tooting his own horn for this. You know, Guy Fieri and I have not seen eye to eye. I think he's done some pretty reprehensible things over the last few months, but listen, sometimes you can't pick your allies in a war.
That is right, but one ally you did pick was last week after your son Chuck apparently just disappeared, ignoring your call to become the captain of Team JXT. One man stepped up, and that man was Hollywood Hulcher, a man whose claim is that he has just as big a vendetta against JXT as any of us. I mean, let's not forget, Hollywood Hulcher was part of the first ever Highway to Hell tournament, a tournament in JXT where they actually kill people, Tibbs.
I still don't even know how those two were able to make that legal. And while I'm a little upset that they didn't get to it first, I'm actually pretty happy that I didn't have to deal with the negative fallout.
That is right, but like you said, Hollywood Hulcher, he may be the captain, but a captain ain't nothing without a team, which is why Hollywood Hulcher is in our ring right now to announce his members on Team JWF. Let's have a listen.
JXT wants a war. They want to cross the line into JWF territory and try to assert their dominance. They want to prove that they are the best brand out there, and you know what? I'm more than willing to let them try. Because I've been down there, man. I've been down in JXT, and I know the type of madmen that we're working with here. I know Blake Tanner. I know Scotty Moore. I know Scotty Moore, the depths of his heart more than anybody, man. Men that would rather kill someone than admit that they ever failed with anything. Men that don't know what they're doing. You see, Scotty Moore, he thinks he can run a tight ship down there in JXT, but believe me, I've seen the underbelly, the reality of JXT, and it is a dark place. And I am going to fight against that darkness as captain of Team JWF. And that's why I'm ready to announce the 3 men who will be fighting alongside me in that 4-on-4 elimination match. First off, we've got this year's King of the Steel City man, Griffin Clouds, and his brother Justin. The most dominant tag team in JWF history to date, the VWO.
Whoa, Tibbs, if you want to talk about hitting a home run, Hollywood Hulcher did it right there. Last year's Tag Team of the Year and one of the most dominant forces we've ever seen in the JWF. The VWO have joined him on Team JWF, and you can see him coming out to the ring, and Tibbs, they look happy to be here.
Absolutely, Sills. Wonderful pick on the part of Hollywood Hulcher. Griffin Clouds, as he said, winner of the King of the Steel City tournament. Justin Clouds, part of one of the best tag teams we have had here in a long time. I'm into it.
And joining them is a man who I first met, ironically enough, in JXT. A man that I saw as a brother, and a man that I think is the only person to have a bigger grudge against JXT than me. And that's none other than Funky Flossie.
Whoa, Tim! There it is, a man we have not seen a lot of here in JWF, but he is coming out to that ring. I'll be honest, if you asked me, I was afraid Funky might have been one of Scotty Moore's moles, but it looks like instead he is coming out to the ring and he is joining Team JWF.
Absolutely, Sills. If you look at it, I mean, it looks like Funky Flossie was not treated that well in JXT either, much like Hollywood Hulcher. He's honestly had it better since coming here to JWF.
That is right, and it looks like Funky has something to say. Oh, Tibbs. I had a feeling we wasn't going to be able to get out of this without Scotty Moore shoving his nose in it. And it looks like he is right now. That is the music of JXT. And look at this. Robert Hill, the Blockbusters, and Ghazi coming out. I guess this is Team JXT, and they are led by Scotty Moore.
Of course, Sills. He can't resist his airtime. Look at the narcissism. Who would be on that level that's not at this commentary desk right now?
Whoa. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little confused here. I mean, Hollywood, look, you made your issues clear with me over the past few weeks, and believe me, those issues will be resolved. So I understand you on Team JWF and the VWO, well, is it really Thanksgiving if Scotty Moore ain't tangled up with you in some way or another? So, you know what? I understand why you're Team JWF, but Funky Flossie, a man who I championed from day one in JXT, a man that I raised up and did everything I could to make him a star, a man that I considered one of my personal favorites, and a possible JXT champion. You decide to align yourself with these idiots? I mean, Funky, I came here, I started this entire war for people like you. For the people that Tibbs held back, for the people that deserved more than they got, and in reward of my frankly selfless act, you do this to me? Fine. You know what? No, that's fine, because what I see in front of me, what I see in that ring, it's not the high flyer from JXT. I don't see the man that could kick your head off in an instant. I don't see a JXT champion in that ring. No, what I see is just another one of Captain Tibbs' little bitches. Whoa, Tibbs! Looks like that set off Funky Flossie. He is rushing towards Scotty, looking for a fight, but gets cut off by Ghazi. Those two get into brawl, but it looks like Funky not going in alone. VWO joining in, but the Blockbusters coming in, and now we've got a barn brawl. We need security. Damn.
No, let it play out. I love this, Sills. Let these guys need a good brawl. Let's get all of this anger and hatred, build it to a fury point. And you know what? Scotty Moore, this is what you're gonna get. That's what you're gonna get, boy!
That's right, forget crossing the line. It looks like the war has started tonight as, Justin with a huge cumulonimbus power bomb straight down onto the guardrail, taking out the Bone Crusher. Meanwhile, in the ring, look at this. Ghazi has got Funky locked up. He has that arm trapped, and it looks like he is about to snap it. He could break the arm of Funky Flossie right now, but wait, Tibbs, that's the music of Blake Tanner. That's the music of the man who was trying to join Team JXT last week, but I think he has made his allegiance clear as he comes down to the ring and he is just laying waste to everybody on Team JXT. Tibbs the Bee has returned.
Well, would you look at that? Talk about a Thanksgiving miracle, Sills.
That is right. And look at this. Blake Tanner standing alongside Funky Flossie as Scotty Moore and his crew retreat up the ranks. And, well, Tibbs, I'm being informed right now that apparently next week we're going to have another co-branded match. Ghazi is going to take on Blake Tanner. And, Tibbs, you know there's a history there with those two.
Absolutely, Sills. Blake Tanner, Of course, being the one to originally introduce Ghazi into the fray, but Ghazi turning on him after Blake turned on him, joining up with Scotty Moore. It's amazing. It's like a terrible love triangle.
That's right. You can see now also we're going to have Chuck Gibbons crossing the line over, responding to Guy Fieri and Tibbs. You know that's going to always be interesting when Chuck Gibbons steps into a ring.
Gonna love to see it, Sills. Honestly, this is probably gonna be a banner match.
That's right. And then, of course, we're going to hear from our tag team champions, the Rising Suns, ahead of their match against Back in Black at that pay-per-view. But like I said earlier, Fomo-san, former JXT BS champion, a man who was really held in high regard in JXT. Do you think that might be playing in one half of the tag champions' minds right now?
I don't know, Sills. With everything going on, we are at a fever pitch right now. Not just for them, but for everybody. It is going to be a war, Sills. And I don't think anybody is ready for it yet.
That is right, Tibbs. But until next time, remember to support us on our official Patreon. Patreon.com/AloadofBS. Get you access to a ton of exclusive content from the BS Boys. In addition to that, you get access to the Discord where they hang out, they watch wrestling live, and it's all available at Patreon.com/AloadofBS.
Make sure to support us if you enjoy everything that you hear weekly. If you enjoy our voices, if you love what you're listening to, think about donating right into Captain Tibbs' pocket.
That is right, and in addition to that, you can also pick up merch for your favorite JWF superstars at merch.aloadofpurebs.com. We've got stuff for Captain Tibbs. We got stuff for Chuck Tibbs. We have got numerous shirts available for you at merch.aloadofpurebs.com. We got new Ghazi merch, although I don't know who'd want to buy Ghazi merch. But until next time, he's been Captain Tibbs. I've been Silver Spoon, and this has been JWF Monday Night Ignition, and we will see you next time.